Hillary Clinton for 25 years. I remember her, as you do, as a great First Lady who broke precedent in terms of the role that a First Lady was supposed to play as she helped lead the fight for universal health care. I served with her in the United States Senate and know her as a fierce advocate for the rights of children, for women, and for the disabled. Hillary Clinton will make an outstanding president, and I am proud to stand with her tonight. Thank you all very much.
Hi, everyone. I'm Elaine Quijano.
And I'm Vladimir Dutit. We are coming to you from the home of the 2016 Democratic National Convention in Philadelphia. Former Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders made it very clear Monday night Hillary Clinton must become the next president of the United States.
Sanders supporters cheered. Some even cried as the defeated candidate took the stage. But he pushed past the divisiveness of the day and urged voters to rally behind Clinton. Joining us now to talk about that and more, we've got fresh off the floor.
Yeah.
After the gavel, Nancy Cordes.
I ran up here.
I know. You totally wanted to be a part of this.
I've been thinking about it for 3 days. Ever since we left the RNC, I'm like, when is after the gavel coming back? It can't come back soon enough.
Yeah. So you brought a souvenir.
I did.
So this was so interesting to watch.
Yes.
It was like this mass distribution immediately after Senator Warren, or even actually
yes. And so this was very smart of the Clinton campaign. So this is the sort of classic Clinton font, except it says Bernie, and it's, this is kind of cute because it's got a little bird.
Yeah, is it like a Portlandia thing, like a put a bird on it?
Yeah, it's that, and then it's like the play on words because it's Bernie and Birdie, and, and then on the back it says a future to believe in. So, you know, if you're worried that some of the supporters of your opponent are still feeling a little bit bad that he didn't win, not such a bad idea to have some pretty nice signs like this made up, you know, in his honor.
I like the color.
You know,
Although it feels like the color feels very Twittery, and that bird, first thought I thought was Twitter.
Is this Carolina blue?
Some cornflower
Clinton
blue,
campaign's
isn't
very
it?
hip with the kids.
Can we talk about the speech itself?
Yeah.
Because I want to play some more sound from Senator Sanders here and just talk about some of the way in which it was received here in the hall.
Sure.
I mean, when he came out, it was, I said on Twitter, rapturous applause.
Yeah.
Right.
And cheers and chants of Bernie, Bernie, sustained applause for him.
Well, I think what people forget is it's not as if Democrats fall into two camps, Clinton people and Bernie people, and there's no overlap. There are a ton of Clinton voters who are huge fans of Bernie Sanders. They love the things that he stands for. They love the fact that he stands for a single-payer health care system and free college. They may not believe that those things are attainable in divided government, but they love the idea that he dreams big, that he was willing to go up against Hillary Clinton as a total underdog in the beginning. So, you know, he got cheered not only by his own supporters, but also by Hillary Clinton supporters, both because, you know, they share a lot of views with him, and also because, you know, they respected what he's doing now, which is basically coming out and wholeheartedly endorsing her, which, as we all know now, was a very long and arduous process to get there.
Yeah, Mo, did you ever think that we would get to this point where we would see Bernie Sanders up there finally saying, look, I'm completely 100% behind Hillary Clinton, or did you think, what was your thought going into this convention?
Oh no, I mean, I assumed we'd see that. I thought we'd see it sooner. But you know, when he speaks and he really electrifies, you know, his people down there, you think. And I'm stealing this from a pundit on CNN.
How
from
dare you.
I know. Van Jones was saying this. He said, you know, the only reason there wasn't a rebellion, or as he would put it, a revolution in the Democratic Party like you saw in the Republican one, was because you had somebody like Hillary Clinton that was so kind of entrenched and established from the start. But the energy you feel there, you think, if not for someone like a Clinton that was so established, boy, that wave probably would have.
Well, I'm curious what you guys think, though, about back in 2008, the Hillary Clinton supporters did not put on the same show that we saw earlier this morning here when, now you guys were there. I wasn't there. So that's why I'm curious to know, did they, or were there people in the audience back in 2008 that were shouting for Hillary Clinton the way we saw earlier this morning?
I mean, she certainly got a lot of support when she spoke, but there weren't holdouts the way that you see here. I mean, maybe small pockets, but nothing like this. And the reason is that it's a different group of people. You've got a lot of Sanders delegates who aren't traditional Democrats, were not necessarily engaged in the political process at all. And so they're not as beholden to the party. They're not as interested in party unity because they never saw themselves as Democrats or party people to begin with. They saw themselves as Bernie supporters.
Well, right, but also in 2008, no one could have accused Senator Barack Obama of being part of an establishment also, right? The Bernie people feel as though they're pushing up against something, this part of the rigged system.
Yes.
Let's talk about a little bit more of Senator Sanders' words to harness the energy, right, in the room. Let's play a little clip of that where he talked about what was created here being bigger than any one candidate. Let's take a listen.
Let me be as clear as I can be. This election is not about and has never been about Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump or Bernie Sanders or any of the other candidates who sought the presidency. This election is not about political gossip. It's not about polls. It's not about campaign strategy. It's not about fundraising. It is not about all the things that the media spends so much time discussing. This election is about and must be about the needs of the American people and the kind of future we create for our children and our grandchildren. This election is about ending the 40-year decline of our middle class. The reality that 47 million men, women, and children today live in poverty. It is about understanding that if we do not transform our economy, our younger generation will likely have a lower standard of living than their parents.
All right, Senator Bernie Sanders from earlier. Now, interestingly, of course, watching all of the proceedings was Donald Trump.
Yes.
Who did not hesitate to tweet.
He's been trolling the whole night.
He has. So he tweeted at one point, Bernie Sanders totally sold out to crooked Hillary Clinton. All of that work, energy, and money, and nothing to show for it. Waste of time. Now, take a look at this, though, because Senator Sanders quickly responded.
Yeah.
Very simply.
Very quickly.
2 words.
Never tweet. Ouch. Zing.
All right. Well, I have something to be fair to Donald Trump. In Donald Trump's speech, he had a Q on the end of his LGBT. Bernie didn't.
Okay.
And I feel
It
really
shows
guilty.
just how much more progressive Donald Trump is.
I know, and I feel guilty because I forgot what the Q stands for.
Questioning.
Questioning.
It's questioning.
It can't be.
No, it's questioning.
Okay.
I've heard both queer
Yeah,
or
it-
questioning.
Qatari.
No, I don't think so. But,
Sorry.
but what about this? Okay, so now we're
Right.
seeing this unfold on social media. Very direct response from Donald Trump.
Right, and it's a lot like when Hillary Clinton tweeted, delete your account to Donald Trump, and that got, a ton of attention as well. Let's not forget that these are all, like, late 60s, early 70s tweeting at each other. I have a feeling that, they've got some younger,
youthful people. You
who
think?
I
are
don't know
helping
that
them out with the lingo.
Yeah, I
No,
know.
Donald Trump, I agree. He's doing a lot of that
doing his own
himself.
tweeting.
And he's very good at sticking to the 140 characters.
Also, so here's what he said about Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren, often referred to as Pocahontas, just misrepresented me and spoke glowingly about crooked Hillary, who she always hated. I mean, it's just
Trying to stay
He cuts to the chase.
he really does, right?
Yeah.
Like, and he always ends it with something sort of like cute at the end.
Right.
You know, who she always hated.
You can hear him, right? Well, you don't need to, but it have audio on it. I saw you guys with the press release from the Trump-Pence campaign. Is this usually Clinton, Kaine are the same font, and Pence is a smaller font than Trump?
Right.
Is that?
Right.
Have we ever seen that before? I'm guessing that they're usually the same size, or
Well, clearly here, the logo you're talking about,
Right.
I don't know if they have that. They
The
can
Trump
show
Pence
well,
it.
everywhere
logo.
You
everyone's
guys
seen it
have
by now. That
but
Pence is smaller than.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
Which, by the way, this was 2.0. Remember the original logo?
Yes, remember the original
Yes.
logo?
Oh, was the
Criticized.
T penetrating the P.
Yeah.
That's exactly
You
what
know,
people said it was doing.
They didn't have much time to put that logo together because it was really like down to the wire
Right.
who he was going to choose.
And then at some point, after they looked at Twitter a couple hours later, they were like,
Oh
"Wait,
my
stop the
God.
presses."
Yeah. let's go with Plan B, guys.
All right, so we've talked about Bernie Sanders. There's a couple of other. There it is. So, yeah, Make America Great Again. Trump in that Trump font that we've come to know. It's on every building in New York.
Well, and can I just say that, you know, the never tweet thing was coming because Donald Trump has not just been trolling Bernie Sanders tonight. I mean, it's been days, if
Right.
not weeks like this. You know, Bernie Sanders is selling out to his supporters. He's weak. He looks so lame now that he's giving in on all of his principles and backing Hillary Clinton. So he's really been trolling Bernie Sanders for quite some time.
Yeah.
Last thing on the font really quickly. I'm being told, this just in, that apparently after looking at the Romney-Ryan fonts, after looking at the Obama-Biden fonts, the vice presidential nominee's name is smaller.
It is small. Okay, so
it's not.
that's good to know. So Clinton, Kaine are the same size.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
This is why the CBSN research team
They're
is
so good. They're so
vaunted.
good in the control room
It's just
there.
well, you know, just well respected.
All right, so wait, there's a couple of things. So today was a very exciting day. We have a lot to that we can pick and choose from.
Oh my
we can
God,
talk
Debbie
about.
Let's talk about Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
All right, so let's do that, Mo.
Okay.
Okay, I know it's a serious
You
topic,
lead.
but all day I've been wondering, I can't tell if Debbie Wasserman Schultz and I had gone to theater camp together. I can't tell if we would have been like best friends or we would have hated
First
each
of all,
other.
she does strike me as a theater camp.
She totally did. She
Right?
would have nailed
Right?
Lucy and Jurgen and Charlie Brown. No, and she would have been great at Adelaide and Guys and Dolls. And I feel like she thinks she's a Sandy when she's really a Rizzo, and she should just do Rizzo because Rizzo's a much better role. She's going to end up with Jan or Frenchie if she keeps quibbling over it.
She does think that she's a Sandy. And
Yeah.
Okay.
But I feel like
really
we would
Rizzo.
get. I feel like we would get to theater camp, and at first, like we'd regard each other warily, and then we'd become friends.
Yes.
And then we would she would do her up tempo and ballad for me, and her up tempo would be much better than the ballad, and I would do the same for her. And then we'd end up we'd have a falling out, and we'd drive each other crazy.
No,
Okay.
you guys
All right.
would strategize to make sure that nobody else got the plum roll.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
Isn't that
Debbie, you
like-
better have my back.
Can we talk about this drama? I mean, really, let's talk about this because this was something that really had people pulling their hair out. I mean, we saw changes to this program schedule, right?
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
this is not something that just was like, well, people can move on. We'll all
And,
be okay.
You
I
know,
mean,
this was unfolding in real time.
real time.
As of this morning, her plan was still to gavel in and gavel out the convention. She was going to have a reduced role, but she said, look, I've already stepped down, but I've been involved with this for years. I want to see it through. I want to at least gavel in. And even the Clinton folks were like, okay,
Not happening.
You know, if you think you want to take that chance. And after she did that breakfast with the Florida delegation, her own delegation, and got booed, I think she reconsidered and thought, you know, this isn't going to look good for me. It's not going to look good for the party. You know, whether or not I think that I'm sort of being treated fairly here or thrown under the bus or whatever, it's probably best for me to step aside.
Well, Nancy, tell us what she's like off camera, though.
You know, just like as a person that you hang out
Yeah.
with, she's she's an excellent song and dance woman.
Is she mellow? I mean, what is she like?
You know, she's very friendly. She plays on the women's congressional softball team every year. So, you know, she's someone
she's a jock.
She's someone who, you know, a lot of the female reporters know, someone who a lot of the, you know, is you know, sort of very close to a lot of female members of Congress. Her two closest friends on Capitol Hill for many years have been Kirsten Gillibrand, Senator of New York, and famously Gabby Giffords when she was in Congress before she was shot. So they were sort of a trio.
They were
on
the pink
Capitol
ladies.
Hill.
They were the pink
they were the-
everything things
They got
about
the
a
pink
musical
lady,
here
the pink
now.
lady jackets,
But
showing up to the
so,
old
you know,
But what does
Studebaker.
she do now, though? So she's in this re-election fight, right?
Right,
So, and
right.
Bernie Sanders has actively supported her
Right.
opponent. I mean, that's some drama there.
That's a ton of drama because her opponent is not someone who had really any money or any name recognition
know this.
before Bernie Sanders got behind him, which was like a huge diss.
Did he do that? Was that retaliatory, or did that
You know,
predate?
it is a candidate that he has common cause with. It's
Okay.
it's a you know it's a candidate who shares a lot of Bernie Sanders beliefs, but it was somebody who really was not going very far.
What does
before
she do
Bernie
now,
Sanders.
Nancy?
Well, she regroups. This is a big blow for her because she's someone who has always sort of been on the fast track and always been in leadership roles. And she's led the DNC for 5.5 years now. That's a high profile position. You get to, you're always there with the leaders of the party. It's your job to get the president reelected. Now, I will say her term was going to be over in January anyway, so she was slated to move on. And she kind of thought that she could hang in there because it's not like this email controversy was the first problem that she encountered.
Right.
Things had sort of been piling up over time, and there are different versions that you hear. One version is that she was too focused sometimes on her own issue, on her own image and raising money for herself, and perhaps not as focused on the DNC. Other stories that you hear is that the president himself was never as invested in the Democratic National Committee as presidents typically are because he kind of had his own thing going with Organizing for America, and he was able to raise his own money. So the DNC, that allowed it to kind of wither on the vine, and she was hung out to dry a little bit. I think there's some truth to both of those stories. And so there were a lot of people who were arguing months ago that she was in, sort of a tough position and had taken enough arrows that it was probably time for her to move on.
And speaking of that,
actually, I'm told we're going to have to take a quick break.
oh,
here.
okay.
You want to go ahead?
I was just going to ask you. You said earlier something though. You were talking about the email scandal, and you said that this is the first shoe that's dropped, but maybe 5 more. Are they worried about that? And we can talk about that after the break.
Yeah, they're
We'll talk about
but
that
the
after
answer is yes.
Yeah, they are.
All right, so hold that thought. As we go to break here, we're going to play a little bit of Senator Elizabeth Warren going after Donald Trump.
What kind of a man roots for an economic crash that cost millions of people their jobs, their homes, their life savings? What kind of a man cheats students, cheats investors, cheats workers? Well, I'll tell you what kind of a man. A man who must never be president of the United States. Never. And we've got the leaders to make it happen. Hillary Clinton and Tim Kaine. They're going to